the land, leveled it out, actually with the thanks of Stuart Hotchkiss, whose sister is here today. Anyhow, this photo, the caption actually reads, is it really supposed to look like that? There's a great deal to inhibit the endeavor. This is a shot of the inside of our barn, which hasn't changed in 50 years. Chores on a farm do not wait. Of course, life doesn't stop either. Finally, in 1995, the superhero arrived to save the farm. You laugh now. But there's the superhero. Yeah. Let me just say, you would not be nearly entertained, and I would not be here right now if it weren't for that woman right there. So, in 1998, we were married, and that's really when the farm really started to take off. So that's the brains and the brawn, okay? With happy heart, sated appetite, the future begins in earnest. You folks ready to go through spring at the farm? Here we go. Oh, almost ready. This is actually transplanting heirloom tomatoes in the greenhouse. And there's 10,000 square feet of greenhouse that's being filled up. There's actually a little worker all the way down at the end of that row. Those plants will actually be 18 feet tall by the end of the year. So they'll actually loop all the way up to the top of the greenhouse and start coming back down the other side. Those are cucumbers hanging from the rafters in the greenhouse. Those are ready for market. The foreground, oops, no, that's not in the foreground, never mind. And finally, yeah, each year, spring is just that, a rush. And finally, the work begins to pay off. Yay! Farm stands open, cash is coming in. You know how hard it is to live from December to June without any income? Try it. The methods and philosophy maintained, really, it's all still the same. We haven't really changed anything. This is the way I farm, forest floor farming. In the times of Native American agriculture, these farmers sought out flat forested land with rich nutrients and hundreds of years of leaf litter. They would slash and burn the land, grow for a few years in this rich soil, and then move on to prepare another location. Today, the state of Connecticut frowns upon the slash and burn method. So now, we import the forest floor. We actually have, about 20 or 30 landscapers who go around to your properties and suck up your leaves in those big leaf trucks. And they come to our property and they dump it all. And then we turn around and we sell the mulch stuff right back to you guys, so it's amazing. It's how to catch them coming and going all at the same time. The autumn leaves are spread out thickly on the surface of the field, and then it all starts again. The seeding and propagation occurs in the greenhouse. We actually take, at transplant time, the leaves are all raked aside, and the transplants are literally drilled into the ground with a hand drill. You can see the large piles of leaves on either side, and that's all we use. I use no fertilizer, I don't use anything. Leaves, that's it. No need to water or weed. And with all the beneficial insects, there's never a need to use pesticides. That's easy. It's me working. That's every day we get to do that. Still the same farm, now serving food and beauty to many, many families. In addition to the seasonal farm stand in US 1 and farmers markets in the county, the farm depends solely on the support of the community, as the point of sale reaches no further than the county line. Barbary Hill also has a CSA farm share program, of which we actually have forms for you to sign in. There you go. So you can become a member today. You actually pay in advance a lump sum when the farm needs the cash the most. And for 16 weeks during the season, you receive a nice box of fresh vegetables, usually about 8 or 10 different items in the box. It must have been easier when there were fewer mouths to feed. How does all this get done? I do not know. That's a pretty typical shot, actually. That's our labor force, at least part of it. Over the years, Barbary Hill has trained local high school students and college students to help serve on the farm. Some have been with us for years. This is actually our present farm manager. This is Claire Thompson, 22, who has been with us actually since the age of 6, when she tagged along with her big sister, who was farm manager before her. It's truly a farm family. And as teacher, I can't help but share my knowledge and my workload. That's Nate saying, yeah, but I've been doing this since 6 a.m. Barbary Hill Farm has been performing demonstrations and activities with school groups for over 20 years. And I still have people coming up to me today saying, wow, you're the sheep dude. Kindergartner classes started coming in the early 80s, I think I started doing them. So literally I have kids that are, 20 and 30 coming up. I remember you from kindergarten. We also actually have a graduate school program coming from the Yale School of Forestry, and they actually come out and do soil testing and comparisons with other farms in the area. We always let folks have a try if they're so inclined. She actually did a great job shearing that. I was amazed. Since 2009, Barbary Hill Farm has furthered its educational aim as a host farm for WOOF International. That stands for Worldwide Opportunities on Organic Farms. They get to come over and learn to work. The volunteers come from as close as Connecticut, or the North Sea islands of Germany, or even Cape Town, South Africa. We share our home, our bounty, our family, our work, and our knowledge.
A little slower, just trying to keep up with you.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, we do. Things fall down and go boom, too. They share their skills. And they share their thoughts. I'm not going to tell you what she's thinking. At this point, the farm begins to take on a life of its own. Of necessity, the farm must develop or be developed. You may notice this little sign. It's not the best of camera shots here, but this is the 4.5-acre parcel just a mile down the road from us that is now about to become 20 residential units. In an effort to keep the central acreage of the farm intact, the 4 siblings entered a contract to sell the rear 8 acres to a company called the Sunshine House. And they were going to construct a respite for hospice for children. The vision for the hospice far exceeded the financial commitment and ended quite poorly for all. and that was a sad turn of events. The land finally fell quietly into the hands of Milano Development Corporation. So at this point, the little farm actually becomes littler. Oh, I can't do it on this, can you? You can't do it over there. But we could actually cut it right along the river. And so everything, these are actually the greenhouses here that are existing. That's a farm pond that we have dug. This is actually another farm pond that we have dug. And now all of this land to the rear is now owned by Milano Development Corp., who also owns both sides. So it's actually a good fit for him. Not sure it's a great fit for us, but we'll see how it all works out. Anyhow, it may have been a blessing, I suppose, in some ways. They're actually in the process of clearing out the land right now, so if you drive back that way, you'll see big logging trucks working away. So, if the little farm is to be, we have to learn to adapt. And so we have. We have gone into agritourism, Barbary Hill, events, farm weddings. This is actually a New York Magazine 2013 article of great places to have weddings. And somehow we ended up being #1 on that list. I was like, wow, great. This is also featured in Well Wed magazine, issue #9. My wife and her partner also do rugs during the seasonal weather and also have rugs that they sell indoors as well. These are antique and semi-antique rugs that they sell on the roadside. And if you haven't ever come by, it's really way fun just to sort of wander around in the fields and see these lovely rugs. One of the other things that most of you may know is Dinners at the Farm. And that has been a smashing successful event, which we may give you a little piece of entertainment of.
We may not.
Oh, you can't do that, that's right. Can you do that there?
No, it's not loaded here.
Will it do it?
It's loaded here.
Maybe it doesn't show, no, go back over one more. Anyhow, we had a little video for you, whether it's going to work. Maybe it doesn't play on this, huh?
Visit your blog.
Yeah, visit the blog, there you go. Anyhow, there's a couple of great things on the internet where you can find videos about Dinners at the Farm. One was done by Jess Smith here in town. The other is done by a very professional Unique Eats. And they're very entertaining videos, actually. But we'll skip that, and we keep moving right along. If you haven't been to Dinners at the Farm, though, I would look into it, because it's really, really very entertaining.
Delicious.
And delicious, yes, indeed. Our farm stand at full swing. This was one of our woofers who was from Russia, correct, who taught us a great deal about beets, by the way. And there she is, teaching us about beets. A few of the other things that we do, maple syruping just for ourselves. We also have folks that come and do beekeeping on the farm with us. So we share the land as well. We share it with our turkeys too. A couple more of our woof volunteers. That's one of them working on a roof and one working in a garden. Not everything always works well on the farm. That was our hurricane. Took us a week to get out of our driveway. Changed the landscape considerably. And last year's snowstorm did some modifications to the greenhouse. However, we stay smiling. And smiling more because the customer's always right. So much to share in so little time. You know what the caption is there? What's that thing? We also host the Plein Air Painters. They have come, oh boy, 2 or 3 years now, and they come and paint some wonderful scenes around the farm, and they're very, very supportive of us. And of course, weddings. And then there's planning for the future. We're still farming as we were a century ago, yet the town has grown up around the little farm. Barbary Hill Farm remains an island amidst a wealthy suburban sprawl, and the pressure for development is ever increasing. At present, 8 acres of Barbary Hill Farm is under development. The farm is dependent upon the community for survival. And to help sustain the farm and the community, we are seeking out other alternatives. The barns on the farm have been selected for the State Register of Historic Places. In an effort to keep intact the farm that is left, the Goddards have been meeting with the town and the state to permanently preserve the land from development through the Community Farms Preservation Act. This is actually a chart, I don't know whether you can see it, of lost acreage of farmland. And actually, Connecticut is not one of the more drastic ones. That's a slow decline relative to many of the other states. If we were to preserve it through the state program, this would ensure the historic 1900s farm would be here for generations to appreciate. But this is only possible if the community is with us. Who are we? Barbary Hill Farm. Where are we? BarbaryHillFarm.com.